much.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm a bit in a How to Train Your Dragon mood, of course, because Dean's teaser trailer just came out.
oh, listen, that's one of my questions. I was going to save it till a little later, but we can talk that Christmas first. But
Sounds
don't
good.
worry, we are getting there. Um, so first of all, that Christmas is so beautiful. I loved this movie so much. I watched it with my daughters who are 11 and 13. And I wanted to talk to you about the two sisters because I feel like you guys perfectly capture sister. I have two daughters. I actually have a sister, and we are so polar opposite. And so can you talk about really directing them and making it so that you really feel like they're opposite but they love each other?
Yeah, I mean, like I have a naughty brother. I'm the nice one, obviously. He was 3 years older than me, and oh my God, did he drive me mad? But I love the sister story because from an animation point of view, it was phenomenal because it's the identical puppet. Like we
Mhm.
basically did one puppet. I mean, I call it puppet, it's a 3D character, but a digital puppet, if you will, right? And we duplicated it. One had one different haircut than the other, and the color of the shirt different. Besides that, it's exactly the same rig. So the animators really had to come up with a way to differentiate them, and we did quite a bit of development on that in the beginning. you know, in my mind, Charlie's a bit ADD, like she cannot sit still and immediately has the next plan that she's plotting. And Sam can just kind of settle into her world and sort of disappear in a book or whatever. And that tension and that dynamic just felt really lovely to me, but also the fact that they actually really love each other and cannot. I'm just like my brother, he would drive me mad, but I tell you, we would spend every waking hour together.
Yeah.
We couldn't just sit at opposite ends of the house. We would immediately eventually find each other and do something stupid, and that would be the receiving end of whatever prank it might be. But yeah, so I love that. I really connected with it, and I could tell that. I mean, we had our set dresser actually was a twin, and so she would tell story of. So it's quite interesting how when you ground something in reality, which is really what we wanted to do, and you just try and find a way to heighten it, but it always makes sure that you're speaking the truth in some
Mhm.
way. It's amazing how many people connect with those things because they somehow are around us everywhere we go. Like the lonely boy. I mean, Danny's story of being transplanted from a different town was the story of my son because I moved to London for this film. I'm back in LA now, but and taking him out of here and putting him in a school, like I saw it unfolding in front of my eyes. So there's so much truth to it. In fact, the funny story is that he was the scratch actor of that kid until we found the actor. Of
Really?
course, he has an American accent, so I couldn't hear. I mean, so
Yeah.
he didn't have the acting skills, nor did he have the right accent. But it was quite funny. Like I could see and have conversations with him about how it felt, to be this new kid in town.
Yeah. I mean, and then there's the part like I really related to the mom having to go to work because like I'm not a single mom, but I have screenings at night and events that I have
Right.
to go to on weekends, in this line of business. And I'm always like, I don't want to leave you. Like
Yeah.
there's so
So
much
there's
relatability
this
in
sort
here.
of tension between guilt and duty,
Hmm.
and I mean, to me, I mean, there's several sort of core moments for me in the film. One of which is, of course, the Ed Sheeran song when everybody realizes that what they want is not what they're going to get. But one of the core, most, I mean, astonishing moments for me is when she gets the phone call and has to go back to the
Hmm.
hospital because it's a true, honest dilemma that you actually understand. You understand the mom's position and torn between those two things in a blizzard where nobody else can get to the hospital. Like the duty in that point, the heroism is more important
Hmm.
than your kid because you know your kid's going to be okay, even though you know you're probably really hurting this child. And the fact that he says something quite hurtful to her and the moment she walks off, you see the change in his face and realizing that he didn't really want to hurt the person that he loves the
Yeah.
most. I find that really wonderful that we can tell that kind of scene in animation is unusual and I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so beautiful too. Like it's gorgeous to watch. The animation is So beautiful. But I want to talk to you too about Santa. I love that Brian is just like a narrator and like Santa's in it, but he's not, it's not about Santa. It's about this town and this community.
Yeah.
And can you kind of talk about the importance of that? Is that we're really focusing, it's a Christmas movie, but it's a
Yeah.
community movie. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
mean, I said this from the very beginning, and people asked me, well, if they asked me during the production, they still ask me, like, were you not getting bored of Christmas during these 4 years of talking about Christmas? And I said this, it's like in my mind, I mean, of course, I love Christmas, but in my mind, I actually didn't approach it like it was a Christmas movie. It's
Mhm.
just a story about family events and expectations about family events because you could throw this into pretty much you could throw this into Thanksgiving and you would have the same kind of story. The story wouldn't change, right? Yeah, you wouldn't have Santa and the reindeer, but so to me it was the as an animator, I always love diving into something and really diving deep, whether it's understanding how does flight work and how to train your dragon and understanding the science behind it. Here it is, what does it mean to be a lonely kid who sort of has to accept that maybe his father won't be there anymore, or
Mhm.
what it means putting myself into the shoes of kids who are kind of bored with the traditions that we've served them up. Maybe they would make it much different, and then maybe some of it will be better. Maybe most of it will be better. And so, like really studying these situations, what was the movie was about to me. So for me, it just happened to take place at Christmas. Of course, then you do want to lean into the Christmas of it all and actually take advantage of it because that's what we all love. I think everybody. I mean, Richard and I both really, really love Christmas. And
Mhm.
it's not just for the time of the year and the sparkly streets and the shop window and the coziness of it all, but it's also because it's when we finally come together with the
Mhm.
ones we love and we have time, and it's when we inevitably show our human flaws to each other, because it sort of throws you back. I mean, when I'm with my brothers, for example, who are not, of course, older than me, it takes 20 minutes and we're back to the dynamic that we had when we were teenagers. It's
Uh-huh.
funny. And so family just brings something out in you, doesn't it? Like
Uh-huh.
Christmas, the
And
expectations of Christmas, and is the turkey gonna turn out fine? Is the dog gonna eat the Christmas candy off the tree? Like it's in a way, it's the things that are actually going wrong are the things that you remember the most about Christmas. So that was an additional sort of idea that we thought was really fun to explore.
yeah, I mean, I love this movie. I want to ask you about working with Richard too, because I mean, he's a legend. So what was that collaboration like?
I mean, it was like getting a free film school. It was like this, chance of collaborating with someone you admire, whose films again, like the study of it all, like what makes a Richard Curtis movie was really important to me. Like
Mhm.
understanding, like what is the secret sauce in all of his films, because they do have something in common. And you can't quite put your finger on it because they talk about different events, but they have a level of wish fulfillment,
Mhm.
right? What if that biggest star in the world walked into my bookshop and she fell in love with me? Like, what would that
Yeah.
be? How could I time travel, in about time? What if I'm a descendant of a family who can time travel and I could relive the day and fix the things that I messed up in a sort of completely different way? He told that story. Yesterday, what if I'm the only person who, remembers the Beatles song?
Yeah.
Like there's a wish fulfillment to that, and there's a sense of music. Story is told through sketch comedy because of his past. I mean, I as an animator, I studied Mr. Bean frame by frame, trying to understand how he did it and how the sketch structure worked. And
Mhm.
so, like, I knew from the beginning that this was going to be a journey into someone's very special skill, and if I could rub off 10% of that, I would be a better filmmaker because of it. But then at the same time, I also felt, well, sort of selfishly, yeah, but what can I bring to this, right? What is
Mhm.
my experience that I could bring to the world of Richard Curtis? And very quickly you realize, well, actually marrying his sense of storytelling, that speaks of domestic, simple ideas and makes those ideas feel big, and marrying that with the timelessness and appeal of animation, is something special, and
Mhm.
that's what we set out to do. And so it was for us, it was for both, and we still talk about this today. It was a journey of two people kind of coming together and educating each other about a process.
Mhm.
And so I think we both learned tremendous amounts. And I have to say, this wouldn't have happened if he wasn't the generous, gentle, uh, you know, person that he is. Like he really has no ego, no,
Mhm.
he doesn't have to stand his ground. So you could actually have debates over story issues or story challenges, and you knew he would find 15 other solutions to solve that story problem.
Oh,
So
I love it.
that was phenomenal. So it's like seeing this firsthand and the experience of dealing with notes and executives and still holding the line while completely inviting everybody in was quite
Mhm.
tremendous and wonderful.
Amazing. Now I gotta switch gears here. We gotta talk about How to Train Your Dragon because that teaser trailer, I was crying. Like it's so beautiful. How did you feel? Because having worked on the animated films, like what was your reaction to that teaser trailer?
Well, so I'm cheating a little bit because I've seen the movie twice already. Because I'm obviously friends with Dean, and
Yeah.
he's making the movie in well, he shot it in Northern Ireland, and he's making the animation and all that in London, and I was in London, so we were there at the same time, and there was some overlap. And I tell you, I have always said to Dean, if DreamWorks does the Disney thing of adapting a an animated film, the first one's got to be How to Train Your Dragon. Because
Mhm.
wouldn't you want to see, okay, for lack of a better term, the Harry Potter version of that world?
Yeah.
And because we completed the animated movies and we said we're only going to do a trilogy, that's going to be it. That's the end of the story. The dragons and humans are no longer together. And in a way, our story explores why there are no more dragons today,
Mhm.
because they disappeared into this secret hidden world. And so I think to do a live action adaptation is extremely exciting. And I've seen the movie, I love it. The teaser gives me chills. John Powell is going to write the music, which is going to be, of course, just a sort of reimagination of the score. I don't know, honestly. You have to you have to walk into that movie and already not liking the idea in order not to like it. And I feel the same way about the teaser. Like there's people who are going to, say, do we need this and all that, but I will watch it over and over
Oh
because it's
man.
sort of and it's such a great story. I mean, the story of the first How to Train Your Dragon in particular is so powerful that I'm a fan.
I mean,
Um,
I think it's a perfect trilogy. Like I've said this many times. I love those movies. We love them in our house. So we're
yeah.
really excited for this. And then before we wrap, I just have to tell you because my daughters told me I had to tell you that we love Tale Dark and Grim.
Oh
It's so
no
much
way!
fun. Yeah. I
Nice.
think I'm one of like two critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes for it.
I know. It's
But
so weird. Like, why did this not get reviewed?
I well, I reviewed it. So and I
Thank you
loved
very much. That's
it.
amazing. I was very proud. I mean, I was very proud of that whole series because it was a tremendous honor to work with Adam Gidwitz, the author, who was actually involved in the film, and David Henry, who's now has a big
Yeah.
hit on Disney with the reimagination of Wizards of Waverly Place. So working with them was really fun, and yeah, I would I unfortunately didn't get to direct it because I would have loved to direct it. I was a supervising director, but the movie was made I mean, the series was made in Canada, and it was during the pandemic, so I could own it. So
Oh
we
yeah.
director on site, but I was involved throughout the whole thing and really loved the way it came out. Kind of
It's
a
fun. It's a
quirky,
fun one.
unusual thing.
Yeah, it was great.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been so
Thank you,
lovely
Jess. I
talking
really
with
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.